Hello everyone, it's Paul from Guitar Gear Connection. In this video, I'm going to be going over all the Vox amps in my collection. But before we do, I'm going to take you to the place where my journey first began, and while we're there, pay tribute to the person that got me into all this stuff, my father. So let's hop in the car and go for a quick drive. I just pulled into the parking lot and I figured now's a great time to talk about Rick's Music World, Vox amps, and how my journey all relates together. So in about 99 or 2000, when I first started playing guitar, the first amplifier I ever had was one of those Fender Squier package deal things. Forgot what kind of amp it was. But the first real amp I ever had was a Vox Super Beatle, a 66. You'll see it later on in the video. My dad had caught wind that the owner of Rick's Music World had two of them tucked away up in his attic. He ended up reaching out to him, and we were able to get both of them at a great price. Well, I should say 1.5 because the other one was pretty rough, but again, you'll see that one too later on, and it's in great shape now, thanks to my dad. But kind of to pay back the honor and the tribute of how beautiful these amps look, my dad always wanted to find a music store to put a few of them on display, since we do have quite a few repeats of certain models. So my dad took the best examples that we had of 3 amplifiers, and he gave them the Rick's Music World in about 2018 or 2019 for everybody to enjoy. So that whole time now that they've been on display, and with my dad passing away about a year ago now, I figure it's a great time to kind of pay him some honor. So I made him a little, let's just say kind of a little memory picture of him with a little writing down at the bottom. I'll show you guys in a second what it says. So I reached out to the owner and the managers in there, and they said that was absolutely fine if I bring something in to hang above the amps for everybody to read and know who really brought those amps in and who was really passionate about these things. So let's head inside. Let's go take a look at the amplifiers, and I'll show you guys what I got whipped up. So this is the little memorial picture that I whipped up of my dad holding the 425 back in the day. I think that picture was taken about 2018. You can actually see the Super Beatle. I think that was actually a Berkely down on the ground, Berkely head. But again, this is a little memorial for him. I'm going to head inside and give it to them so that we can hang it on the wall right above the amplifiers. So here are the 3 Vox amps that we have on display at Rick's Music World. First one is a Vox Viscount. Next is the Vox Buckingham, and this is a real early one since it has the frosted standby light, whereas the newer style ones had the darker colored one. And this one is the Royal Guardsman. All 3 of them are in perfect condition, and if anybody is around the Raynham, Massachusetts area and wants to give them a try, feel absolutely free to come on down. Just got in the car leaving Rick's Music World. Now it's time to head to my mom's house. That's where I keep some of the odd and ends type of stuff, and honestly just things that won't fit at my house. Kind of a little extra storage. So come on along and we'll check out what I have there before we get to my main collection that's at my house. All right, we made it over to my mom's house, or what I like to refer to as my spare storage unit. Hopefully she doesn't watch this because she'll kill me for that. And don't mind me, usually everything's always done on my cell phone. So starting off, probably better if I just point. 212 Series 90, spare Super Beatle head, Churchill, spare Westminster, Viscount, Vox Nova. And as you can see, got a few extra Fender amps and customs, got a bunch of stuff, but won't get into that this video. This Vox Nova, cool little amp. I was missing the grill cloth when my dad had got it, so he had to kind of put a new one on, but blue top is definitely interesting. This Viscount, great shape. I'm trying to walk over this thing. Have the back panel. My dad was in the process of restoring this one. That's why it's missing the straps and the corners before he passed. But that one's a great sounding amp, and it has all the stuff to it. I got spare parts everywhere. Got some handles. I think that's for that Viscount. There's Beatle plate, backing plate. Oh yeah, there's the Westminster backing plate. I think one of that Westminster. Yeah, it's missing the backing plate, so there it is right there. There's that Westminster head. As you can see, frosted green and standby light. That means it's early production. Churchill head. I picked that up from Rob Murray, Studio 2. Check them out, great tribute band. There's that spare Super Beatle head. This one plays great. Sounds great. It's in really great condition too, for the most part. A few things here and there. And then the 212 Series 90. My dad was in the process of restoring this one. I think this was the last amp. He absolutely loved the Series 90s. So that's it for this room. And in those closets, I have a bunch of just spare parts. Super Beatle Stand. Bunch of T1088s that need reconing. Plan on getting those out soon. And then we just bring you to one last room that has a full, really great condition Westminster. And there, amongst decorations and my kids' toys, is the Vox Westminster. Love the stand on these things, they're so cool. I do plan on getting this thing out of here and bringing it over to my house and hopefully get some videos going comparing this alongside with the Essex and the Kensington so everybody can see how the solid state bass amp sounded. Well, that wraps up everything that I have here for stuff. Now let's head back to my house, saving the best for last. We'll get to check out the main collection now. All right, we're finally back at my house, and I figured the best place to start is with the smallest amp and work our way up to the biggest. So starting off, the Vox Pathfinder. Solid state, cool little amp. They came with a 8-inch speaker that they called a Gold Bulldog. Also, to save time, I'm not going to go into specifics of each amp. I can just briefly showcase it. So to save time, I do have a lot of repeats. I'll just throw all the repeats together and I won't talk about each individual amp. So up next is the Vox Pacemaker. These featured one gold 10-inch speaker. And as you can see, this one, odd man out with the wrong speaker. But no worries, we'll get that one corrected. And a few corners and stuff like that missing. So up next, these two amplifiers are not to be confused with the pacemakers I just showed you. Even though they look identical, these are Vox Cambridge Reverbs. Both solid states, just like the pacemakers. And these came with a 10-inch speaker as well, but these had a few different options on speakers, which I'm sure the pacemakers did as well. Next up is my Vox Kensington. Not the best sounding bass amp, but it's Vox and it's cool looking. On to the next one. Next up is the Essex bass amp. I gotta say, these stands are so cool looking. Again, I would say it's similar to the Kensington, where it's not really the best sounding bass amp, but it's Vox and it's cool as hell. Next up, I have 3 Berkely 2s. I think most of these have a closed back. Oh, actually, this one has an open back. Does it have the original speakers? I forget. No, it does not. I think these kind of live by the same philosophy as the Essex and the Kensington, where I'll tell you, they're not the best sounding amp, but man, are they cool as hell looking. Now, these are 2 different amps, but just to save time, since they look identical to one another and they look just like these Berkely 2s, I figured I'd just include them both together. What are they, you might ask? Well, this one is a Super Berkely 3. But oddly enough, though, just has a Berkely 2 cab closed back. It's actually in really great shape. I played that one not that long ago. And then this is a Cambridge reverb on another Berkely 2 cab, which actually has the original speakers in it. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually an amp or like a genuine thing. I think it was probably one of those small Cambridge reverbs that I got in the corner down to the bottom of there. I think it was one of those guys that you saw at the beginning of the video that somebody just transplanted into that. It's probably all the same sizing. But honestly, I forget. And again, just like with these amps, kind of all the same. Not really the best sounding, but they are great. And can't really say they're not the best sounding. They do sound great, but each one kind of has its own sound, and if that's the sound you're looking for, it's a great amp. Up next is my 1999 Vox Korg AC30. Great sounding amp, I love this thing. And I got the Vox Blue Celestians. Up next is another Viscount. This one I won at auction for an amazing price. Definitely has its hiccups, but the preamp itself is amazing, plays great, no issues there. And it has the original speakers too, the Vox Gold Bulldogs. Love these stands. They were so cool, I wish more Vox amps came with them. Up next, I got two Buckinghams. Don't ask me why the one on the left sits slightly lower the bottom cab. Something to do with the stands. The bottom half of the stands are different. Not entirely sure. This one had some work. It was definitely rough when we first got it. As you can see, the knob here switched out. I'm missing a knob for the MRB. Speakers on this one, those G12s. And this one's a closed back, but from what I remember, it had the 212, of course, and this one had the Gold Bulldogs. Up next is my Conqueror. And it has the original Celestion T1088s in it. Amp is all original besides the front cab grill cloth being recovered. But past that, this is a great amp. Sounds great recorded. Yeah, they sound okay in person. But if you want to know more about this amp and Conquerors in general, I have an all about video out on them. This is what I like to refer to as my Washington, D.C. setup. It's a small box AC50 head with 1965 large box guts. And the cab, unfortunately, I was not able to get a true AC50 small box cab, so it is a 212BN. These are great cabs. Of course, the speakers, I do plan on changing those out. And changing a few ports and all that stuff, but then there's the head. You can see I removed the straps on both sides. I put the one strap in the middle. And the next amp up will tie hand in hand with this one. And this is my AC50 small box Australian setup. So that head we just saw, this is the same head. That 65 AC50 large box guts. And I put it into the small box North Coast cab. Head cab. North Coast stand. And this cab, same thing. It's a Vox 212BN. Some random speakers, and as you can see, hole cut for the horn. Got some plans for this one coming up. And as you can see, there's the other 212 cab. And same thing too, you can see I got rid of the handles, and this one I actually didn't put a handle in the middle. Next up, I have two large box AC50s. The one on the left should be a 66, and I'm pretty sure that one was a late 66 or a 67. These are such cool looking amps. And they sound great. This one does not have the original speakers, and as you can see, that backing plate was kind of made up that the speakers are sitting on. Gotta have that mid-axe horn. And then this one has the original speakers for the late models, but as you can see, the original owner had kind of cut out an extra horn spot, so I have that nice hole. Next up is my early production Defiant. What's cool about these early production ones is they had a brownish panel, and it was kind of tough to tell in this light. This one still even has the original Nottingham sticker. But what's the most cool about this? Oh, actually, you know what? Another sticker. Well, what's the most cool about this amp is the fact that it has the same speakers, well, besides the cheesecloth, of course, or whatever this is, but it's the fact that it has the Vox T1297s, the same speakers that the Beatles were using in their UL 730s. Of course, the good old mid-axe horn. Jennings. And if you want to see more of this amp, I have it up on, I think it's the voxsupreme.org. It's a great website. Next up are my two Royal Guardsmans. Of course, as you can see, the one on the left is missing the Cab logo. I think that one's a little rougher than the one on the right, too. Cosmetically. Super twin reverb. Good old frosted standby light. Well, actually, this one kind of looks a little rougher. And this one, yeah, has a little rough. My dad was in the process of restoring this one, and I think the owner before kind of did some strange things with this one. And of course, you can see these speakers aren't original. I know this one was original. It had the gold bulldogs in it, and I know both do have the horn in them, the mid-axe horn. All right, now we're gonna start coming to some of the tall boys. This is a 412 Series 90. Definitely cool, impressive amps, especially that layout for back in the day. Must have been really cool to look at. The Vox logo in the back, which was cool with the material. There's the crossovers, the two horns, of course the 412s. And of course it's missed something, you know, the power amp should be down at the bottom. Sorry, I'm trying to record and walk around this thing at the same time. Definitely cool looking amps. Next amp up is the Supreme. This is actually a Supreme head sitting upon a Super Beatle cab. And this is a late model head as well. A lot of ways to tell, but standby light is gone. And, oh, look what's on the ground. This is the Super Beatle head that goes with this cabinet. And this just so happens to be one of the ones from Rick's Music World. If I'm not mistaken, this was the one that was in pretty rough shape, even though it looks pretty good now. My dad did a lot of work to it. But yeah, that's one of the half ones, I'm pretty sure. And you might think, oh, doesn't have the original speakers. Well, it doesn't, but they are Vox speakers. Those are actually Essex speakers. The initial goal, as you know, there's a bass channel these amps have. As to not blow the Celestion T1088s, we had taken those out and put in those Essex speakers to use this one as a bass amp. But now I just have it looking pretty, and if I need to use it, I'll just switch the heads around. The next tall boys up are my Vox Super Beatles, or Vox Beatle, I think one of them is. The story goes that the Beatles caught wind Vox was using Super before Beatle, didn't like it, made them get rid of the word super, because nothing is more super than the Beatles themselves. This amp, of course, has non-original speakers. And this is the Beatle. This is the other amp that we got from Rick's Music World. This is the second one. And this one has the Celestion T1088s in it. So it was this one right here, along with that cab, and that head over there. These are the two Rick's Music World amps that started it all for me. But of course, they've come a long way. Well, we are coming down towards the end. This is the second to last amplifier in my collection. This is my 65 AC100. It is all original besides a rewrap. And just like the Conqueror, I made an all about video on this. So if you want to hear or see more on it, just check out my other videos on my YouTube page. It's got the original Celestion T1088s with the two mid-axe horns. And the last piece of my Vox collection, an AC30 Extension Cab. Now you might ask, why did I save this amp to the very end? Well, this is probably the most prominently featured amplifier cab Vox item in my collection. Why is that? Well, there's no speakers in it, and I put baffling and cardboard there to try to block out the light from coming through. Because this is what I sit on when I make all my videos, and you guys are always seeing it right below me. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my Vox collection. If you have any questions or want to know more about any of this stuff, comment below. Love to talk all about it. Stay tuned, tons of videos coming. Thanks for watching, everybody. Catch you on the next video.